Hello, and welcome to the A.D.H.Deep-Dive, the show that's not about ADHD, but is filled with proof it exists. My name is David J. Mund. I've shot this intro once already and messed up my own name. So for the last time of 2024, I figured we'd squeeze in a final episode for the year. Definitely won't be doing one right after the Christmas holiday, and then let's see, when is New Year anyway? The New Year, not New Year's, the New Year. Oh wait, that's 2024. I'm looking at 2025, baby. Wednesday is the first. So I'm going to be staying up past midnight on a Tuesday night. Great. I guess preemptively, because this episode will come out just before Christmas, let me know what your Christmas plans are this year in the comments. Let me know what your New Year plans are for the holidays in the comments. I believe that I'm going to be hanging out with my friends Kayla and Noah. Last year, I was invited to Noah's sister's New Year party. Bunch of their friends, bunch of people I didn't know except for Kayla and Noah, so that was fun. Thank you for inviting me. Which actually I'll touch on. Maybe I'll just say now because I'll probably forget that the last few years I've spent with Kayla and Noah, and I'm really excited to also say that it sounds like I might be officiating their wedding, which I think is going to be happening in 2026. Either way, very dear friends of mine. Who it sounded like I was initially going to be in the bridal party, like a bridesmaid, because I've known Kayla significantly longer. So Kayla is the first friend, and then Noah is friend by extension, and then became a good friend of mine. But anyways, yeah, it pivoted from me being a potential bridesmaid to now being officiating the wedding. So that's exciting. If you've ever officiated a wedding or had someone non-traditional officiate your wedding, let me know how that went, because I know that there's a process that I must go through to get ordained. It wouldn't be a Christian wedding, but yeah, I'll be officiating that wedding. So give me any tips and tricks if you got them. Anyways, I spent last New Year at Noah's sister's house. They had a big get together thing. It was just a regular, have some drinks, have some food. There was karaoke. And this year sounds like I'll be doing the same thing, but this year the theme is like dress the opposite of how you would usually dress. And I don't know how I'm going to tackle that one. I don't know if I'm going to be that lame guy who just shows up dressed as he usually dresses because he's already insecure about what he wears and what people think about what he wears. Or if I'll lean in. But I don't know exactly how I'm going to lean in on that one. Anyways, I figured that we would spend this episode talking about some of 2024's biggest moments. Not just my own personal ones, although we will cover some of those, but also just like kind of globally, nationally, some of the biggest headline news stories. Sorry, as you can see, I'm kind of positioned. My office is a little bit different now. And I don't have the lighting set up right. There's not really a whole lot of like contrast and color variety here right now, which is sort of bumming me out. But there will be in the future. I imagine some purpley lights back here, and then I'm gonna get some barn doors for my actual light. I'm right in front. This is me staring out the window. So I just see the street and my neighbors. So if they want to stare at me podcasting, they can now do so even more clearly than before. Anyways, figured we'd talk about some of the year's biggest moments, the biggest highlights. There's going to be many that I missed. This was more just let's throw it at the wall and see what sticks. Initially, I had asked my buddy John Kelly, who I think was the first person to do the show 3 separate times. I could be wrong about that, but he's been on the show multiple times. Maybe he's only done it twice. I don't freaking know. Anyways, he was not able to make it this morning, so the show must go on. I figured I'd do it anyway. It probably would have been much easier to riff with someone on this stuff than it would be to just do it by myself. But here we go anyway. Well, should I start with my own first or the national, like, world stories? Let me take a sip of my Celsius while I think on it. Which, by the way, with it being the holiday season, if you just feel like you gotta get me something, my new obsession lately has been the Fantasy Vibe Celsius. I don't really like any of the other Celsius drinks. I've tried most of them. Something about the Fantasy Vibe that I really like. It's sparkling mandarin marshmallow, so it kind of tastes like an orange creamsicle, and it has not yet lost the sting of it being like the best thing. I've drank it for like 3 or 4 months now at this point, seemingly daily, which arguably is a problem. Unless you buy these things in bulk, they can get a little pricey. So I should probably stop doing that, or I should start buying them in bulk a little more often. Anyways, Fantasy Vibe Celsius. 2024, how's that been? For me, technically, on paper, pretty good. I could talk about this in like a creative, career-oriented way, but also like sort of an emotional way. Let's start with the career stuff. Technically, I've done more things relevant to my career and ambitions that feel fulfilling than any year prior. I've done a lot. The band has gone really well. I've done a lot of creative stuff with photo and video. I went to freaking Massachusetts, and I'll give that same log line I always do, to co-write and co-direct a 2-day immersive experience for Capital One cardholders and executives starring Neil Patrick Harris. Like, just that sentence alone makes me feel like, and this is where it'll kind of tie into the emotional stuff, the David from a few years ago that desperately wanted, well, let's not desperately wanted, who definitely thought that he was going to kill himself, he would be very happy to hear that I'm doing a lot right now. Where he would be sort of bummed is that I'm still what I would consider very broke. Every time I feel like I've got a little bit of I get a step ahead of my finances, something bad happens financially. So like, I don't even think I told you guys that I crashed my car, and then separately I started having some car issues, which cost me hundreds of dollars, and then got basically warned that my car issues are going to cost me a few $1,000s in the future. And I am so upside down on a goddamn loan right now that like it's burying me. But took a lot of cool pictures this year. So again, yeah, on paper, technically I'm doing well. My career ambitions are, my needs are being met in that way, in that like I seem to be doing something new just about every month that I didn't think I was going to do before. And again, just Midwest Skies, chief among them, we're doing really well. We released a song that I kind of laid the groundwork for almost freaking like 8 years ago. I wrote this riff for Peach Rings, and I know we've already talked about this in an episode, but Midwest Skies put out our newest song, Peach Rings, this year, which is a very personal story for me, as was its relation to the music video, which if you have not yet checked out the music video for Peach Rings, please do so. If you haven't heard Peach Rings at all, please do so. Peach Rings by Midwest Skies. Sorry, my lips are really chapped, so I'm going to be kind of biting at them for the visual, for the video watchers. That might be sort of a gross, distracting visual. Sorry, this is the show that's not about ADHD, but it's filled with proof it exists. I just had to reiterate that. Anyways, yeah, I wrote the riff for Peach Rings freaking a while ago, a long time ago. I was like, this has got to be a thing. But I don't have a band, and I don't have anybody who can help me make that come to life. And then it did. So that was nice. And then, yeah, the Neil Patrick Harris thing, I did an immersive experience out in Death Valley in January. I did a lot of cool creative collaborations with photo, did a couple of sketches. The podcast has felt less pressured now that I kind of forgive myself for not doing it every week. There was an initial period when we started this podcast that like, I have to do this every week. I have to have a different guest. It's got to be a unique, substantive thing to talk about every single week. And then for a while, it kind of just started falling flat. The episodes were about nothing, talking about nothing, just feeling like I had to do it. And now it's like, I'll talk when I have something to talk about. And then I feel like these episodes have been getting better. I've been getting better about posting clips, cutting them, making them funny, making them catchy, making them pop a little bit. Yeah, it's been pretty good. I don't know, maybe it's worth it to wish cast about 2025. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I feel like if you set up these expectations for yourself, if you don't accomplish them, if I go back and I look at this episode and I say all these things that I wish that I did or that I hope that I did and then I didn't do some of them, I feel like for my particularly fragile ego and what have you, I don't know. If I didn't accomplish the things that I set out to accomplish and I watch this episode back in like a did I do it? I would probably be much more hurt by the way things turned out than if I would have just been like, you know what, 2025, I hope I'm alive. That sounded really depressing. It wasn't intended to be depressing. It was more meant to be hopeful. But there's truth to that. Where it's like, okay, if this trajectory is sustainable and continues on into the new year, then I hope that I'm alive. The thing about chronic depression, clinical depression, whatever you call it when you've been officially diagnosed as depressed and not just like not just throwing it at the wall, like the word is depression. Whatever, not that you need a clinical diagnosis to be declared depressed. Anyways, the thing about being depressed is that it kind of comes out of nowhere. And in this moment, yeah, I'm doing great. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling motivated. That's all I can say about that. For now. Fingers crossed that keeps up. As long as I have my Celsius by my side. There's probably a few other things that I'm forgetting that I did this year. I know that there are. But whatever. I'm just going to move on to the national headlines at this point, right? I was going to wear this Christmas hat. I say this Christmas hat, this Santa hat. I went into this episode with the new lighting and the new backdrop and everything very insecure. So I was like, if I change up too much, I'm going to feel more insecure than I know what to do with. I might even pop the hat off, maybe. Just because... You know what? No, I'm putting the hat back on. Hold tight, please. The issue with being a deeply insecure person is that you're always conscious of what you look like and always conscious of how people are perceiving you. And I'm not even live right now. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to see this. Whatever. Okay, fuck it. Let's talk about the national stuff, right? The world highlights, the world news. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a punk house. It's a punk home. You can find this banner and others like it, as well as this silly goose on the loose hat, these etched mirrors, these custom charm bracelets, and so much more by heading to Cat and Crew, that's KATANDCREW.com, and entering the promo code Monday, that's MUNDAY, for 10% off your first purchase. Katie and Andrew, one of the first supporters of this show, have made a 10% discount available for A.D.H.Deep-Dive listeners. See store for details, of course. But they've got so many cool punk home products, decor. You don't have to be a punk. That's okay. That's all right. Tattoos for your home, koozies, wall banners. On its way, soon to be released, a hot sauce. Oh my God, keep your eyes peeled for that. So again, if you want This is not a punk house, this is a punk home banner. If you want this silly goose on a loose hat, if you want etched mirrors, if you want custom charm bracelets, so much more, go to Cat and Crew, KATANDCREW.com, enter the promo code Monday, that's MUNDAY, for 10% off your first purchase. Thank you very much to Katie and Andrew for sponsoring the show. Let's get back to the podcast. All right, we're just gonna kind of riff here. Because none of this is going to be in chronological order, nor is it going to be ranked in importance of how big these stories were. It's just kind of crazy that these things happened this year. And of course, there are huge monumental stories that I am leaving out that either I don't want to talk about, that I know it's on everybody's brain, or I've completely forgotten about, or whatever. Just these were the stories that when I was like, what happened this year that I feel like we could talk about? Came out of the brain and came out onto a notes sheet on my phone. Okay. Some of these are going to range from seriousness to not serious at all. So strap in. There is no structure to this. Starting with chief among them, the Hawk Tuah girl. Can you believe that happened? I looked it up. This happened in June of 2024. This meme started. The original video got posted. And if you don't know what the Hawk Tuah girl is at this point, have you been living under a rock? It's an unfortunate tragedy, to be honest with you, that I hope I never go viral for all the work that I've put in to be noticed or to be heard or feel validated or whatever, visually in this medium or audibly in the podcast realm or in music or whatever. I hope the thing I go viral for is not making an offhanded comment while drunk on a street interview talking about spitting on a penis. Again, if you don't know the Hawk Tuah meme, we'll be brief. I think it was just like the woman who the girl, the person who the meme is about, who made the meme, who made it happen. I don't even remember her fucking name. She's just the Hawk Tuah girl. When the Hawk Tuah girl was confronted on the street, the question was like, what do you do to make a man happy? She just says, you gotta give it the old Hawk Tuah, spit on that thing, and then walks away. That's it. That's the whole bit. That's the whole meme. She became internationally recognized, launched a podcast career, made a meme coin, whatever you call that, a digital currency. That just crashed. Now there's some fraud investigation happening. She was made a meme. For the rest of her, she'll always be known as that. I hope that is not my luck in the future when it comes to virality, internet virality. So that happened in June. Another not particularly serious thing, Mund, lest we forget, the baby hippo that was everywhere. That's it. That's all I really have to say on that. I wasn't particularly fond of the Mund memes or the Mund hype, but it was a thing that everybody knew about. It's just weird how certain things on the internet catch on and then everybody culturally talks about them. It's weird that the range of cultural conversation in the world is everybody knows about this cute baby hippo and about how this random girl gives a blowjob. The things that make the country talk, right? You can never predict is the main thing. Those people that are stuck in space, still not knowing a whole lot about the situation. I know that there are two people who initially went up to the International Space Station who were intended to spend, I think, a week, 8 days or something in space. It is now almost an entire year later. Or they're going to have, by the time they are officially rescued or retrieved or whatever, it's going to have been almost an entire year. I don't know how the fuck this happened. Something to do with Boeing and Starlink and the orbit of the moon around the Earth and how you can only get there on X time with certain payloads and blah, blah. I don't know how it works. I don't know why they're there. I don't know how the hell they're still there. I feel like I have this like futuristic view of how space travel works, and it feels like we should be able to just go up there and get them, right? It's that easy. But apparently we can't. I just know that they were intended to be there for like a week to 10 days, and it's been a long time, and they are not retrieved yet. So, man, what do you even say about that? Can you imagine being stuck in space for so long? Yeah, I don't know. I don't like being on a plane for more than 3 hours. And there's gravity on that plane. Being stuck in 0G for 10 months, I think that's like bad for you, right? Like as soon as they get back down to Earth, they're going to forget how to walk. All right. Beyond that, the freaking Paris Olympics were this year. I feel like in the past, I used to genuinely care about the Olympics. I feel like a lot of us used to care about the Olympics. There was so much to watch. It was fascinating to see nations compete in a way that didn't involve bombs or genocides. You know what I mean? Like to see them compete in curling or just running or swimming or whatever. And now it's like, meh, cool. I know there are significantly more physically fit and talented people on this earth who are always doing more incredible things than I'll ever be capable of with my own body. And I know that some of them are going to win shiny pieces of gold and silver and bronze as a reward. And maybe a few of them might get sponsorship deals in the future. But like, I don't think I care anymore. But memorable things from the Paris Olympics. I mean, I remember the opening ceremony being fucking wild. And I'm just going off of what I saw, like, in the memes, right? Like, I didn't watch it. I know there was, like, some blue guy singing in French. And it made everybody uncomfortable because they thought they were making fun of the Last Supper. That's all I really know. And that ray gun girl, the like Australian break dancer. I don't really have necessarily commentary on how uninteresting the Paris Olympics were, but I remember the memes, and again, talk about like going viral for like a really unfortunate reason. Like this girl showed up being sent by her country, probably winning some sort of preliminary round or whatever, and she gets entered into the breakdancing competition in the Olympics on a global scale and just kind of bobs around, does some spin moves. I can't dance. I can't break dance. I bet in a technical judged one-on-one dance competition, this ray gun girl would whoop my ass. She would take the judges' scores. But right now she's a meme, and that's really unfortunate. Same thing with the freaking pole vaulting guy who, again, became a meme because of his dong. He was pole vaulting. He went to, or maybe he high jumped. I can't remember. Main thing is he went to cross over some sort of bar, and that bar snapped up against his dong, and then everybody in the world who was watching or was interested in watching saw this dude's penis. He's just competing in sports. Poor guy got nutted by a freaking Olympic regulation, and now he's a meme. Everybody knows how big his dick is. There's a lot of dick talk in this episode. I apologize for that. Speaking of dick talk, there was the Trump assassination thing. Man, okay, look, this whole episode isn't going to be about Trump, but we could obviously go for hours talking about how insane it is that that guy's back. We talked about it in a handful of political episodes where it was like, I think I always saw him coming back. I think I assumed that he was going to win the presidential election. Yes, it is unfortunate. Yes, it feels unfair. Yes, insert Jesse from Breaking Bad meme where he says he can't keep getting away with it. It is unfortunate that this guy is going to get away with just about everything he ever did in the realm of all the way from actually illegal to just kind of being a douchebag. He's going to get away with all of it. And he's going to usher in some more billionaire douchebags to his cabinet to let him get away with more. And then they're going to get away with more. And then the cycle continues and whatever. I think in 2016, I was shocked and appalled and scared and angry and confused. And now I'm just like, while fully recognizing that this has like real world implications for a lot of people that I care about, I can't be bothered. It is deeply upsetting to me that a good portion of this country voted for this guy, despite, again, even take away the illegal stuff. He's just an asshole. Is that what we want? Apparently, honestly. Oh, there goes my alarm. Oh yeah, I gotta go to the Verizon store today. I'm gonna try and get a new phone. I need to update my alarm so I remember to do that later. Anyways, but yeah, aside from the election, like the assassination attempt, what do you say on that? That's unique. I don't know. Every take's already been made. It was nearly, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. That probably had a lot to do with his reelection and animated a base that was otherwise kind of just like, ugh. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Joe Biden was going to lose anyway. I think I know. Whatever. You can't know because it didn't happen, but whatever. I assume Joe Biden was going to lose anyway. I had to imagine that Kamala Harris was always going to lose. There was nothing really that she could have done about it. Even just aside from her policies and her politics and her lackluster ability to be inspirational or motivational, there just wasn't really enough time. And the writing was kind of already on the wall. She would have inherited all of Joe Biden's baggage and whatever. But the assassination attempt, I think that increased his odds, that increased his chances of being president because it gets people hyped up. You know what I mean? It was, say what you want. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who said, that orange asshole should have been shot. I'm glad he was shot. It's a shame he wasn't. I don't know. I hate the guy. I have no love for him. I think he's a danger to our democracy and our country and a lot of people I care about. I don't know that it would have been good if he got killed. I think that would have exacerbated an already bad situation. And I still believe that the next Trump will be worse. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's bad, but at least he's like publicly bad, and like he's also like annoying to hear talk. The next Trump is going to be soft-spoken and come across as empathetic, and he's going to really make you think that he cares about the everyman and whatever. And he's going to be even slimier, even craftier, even more diabolical, even more motivated. Because that's the thing, right? Like, Trump doesn't really believe anything. Neither did Kamala, just to be clear. But in a different way, he doesn't really believe anything. He'll say what he said to get elected, to animate his base and whatever. The next person is going to be like methodical, intentional, strategic. And I think that's worse. So, careful what you wish for. On the topic of assassinations, the one that everybody's talking about right now still, Luigi Mangione. If you're not familiar with this, I don't know if I can pitch you the whole story. And this one I actually feel more complicated about in terms of justification, in terms of endorsement. Anyways, the Luigi Mangione is the alleged killer of the United Healthcare CEO. And you've heard me talk about it here on the podcast. I do not have health insurance. And if I did have health insurance, I'd have less money than I do right now. Because, when you're self-employed, well, just to be clear, at all, healthcare is wildly expensive, unacceptably so. But when you're self-employed, when you're a freelancer, it's even more expensive because you got to buy into the market, and it's not like you can't get it through your employer. I have to actually go through open enrollment, and that process is a nightmare. And the trope is that like you have healthcare, you have health insurance because it's good that you don't need it. You hope that you never have to use it, but you're glad that you have it when you do. And yet, so many claims are denied by people who have health insurance, who have paid into their insurance for years. The whole way that health insurance works is that they need to take in more money than they spend, right? In order to be profitable. So there is an incentive, there is a motive to deny claims to save money. Because if X amount of people pay in, whatever. Let's say an insurance, I don't know. I'm not good with numbers. I'm not even going to pretend to be good with numbers. I'm not even going to pretend to really understand what I'm talking about here. Other than it's very obvious that healthcare companies, healthcare corporations, health insurance corporations are corrupt and are in the business of claims denial and profit. And when your motive is profit, how can the aim of also being helpful and compassionate and just and good line up with those ideals, those philosophies? They just can't. They're in direct contradiction of each other. So, a particular individual, allegedly Luigi Mangione, shot and killed, otherwise known as assassinated, the CEO of Healthcare United Healthcare? I can't remember. A CEO of a major health insurance corporation. And it seems to have been a conversation starter. I think it should go without saying. I hope, or at least let me put it on record, that I do not endorse the killing of people. Well, okay, let's make it more blanket. Murder is bad, right? Murder is bad. But, should I just leave it there? But, nothing I'm saying is unique, not necessarily well thought out individual thoughts. I'm just kind of going off of what other people have said, and I, of course, get my news from other people I trust and respect, and then I kind of repeat their opinions back to you. But I think there was some math done on this guy that was killed that, like, he's indirectly responsible for tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 deaths because of denying claims. From our perspective, again, the whole point of insurance is I pay this insurance to pay into this big pool so that if anybody needs care that is under this network, they can receive care from the funds that were accumulated by the insurance company. In similar fashion, I pay into this in hopes that when I am injured or when I am sick, I can use those those pool of funds to cover my healthcare costs. And there is incentive and motivation to deny my claim because I went to a provider that was out of network, or we decided that you don't need this care. This is not necessary care. You didn't need to go to the emergency room. You could have waited and puked for a few days at home and then it cleared. You didn't need those fluids. You didn't need that chemotherapy. You didn't need X, Y, or Z. Someone else decides that the money that you have spent on health insurance is not yours to use. And while again repeating, murder is bad, I don't really feel empathy for how nervous healthcare CEOs are right now. Because while this guy's making hundreds of millions, people are going to be in debt for medical expenses. People kill themselves over this kind of debt. And as a guy who's got quite a bit of medical debt, do we just leave it there? I think that's it, right? There's no unique takes left on Luigi. Everybody's already said it. AI, artificial intelligence. I talked about this with John either right at the end of John Kelly, either right at the end of last year or towards the beginning of this year. It could have even been during the summer. I don't remember. Time is a construct. But artificial intelligence has just boomed. Image generation. Even just in the photo video world, like, it is objectively becoming more and more difficult to trust what you see and what you hear. I saw a video this morning of Keanu Reeves, and now this is just a bit. Think about it more critically for other, obviously, more serious situations. Saw a video this morning of Keanu Reeves giving a really, Keanu Reeves' his projection is that he's a soft, well-spoken, kind-hearted guy who cares about you and me. I saw a video this morning of him talking about something that he was very passionate about, and he got emotional over it, and it kind of by extension made me a little emotional because I was like, wow, he really cares about what he's talking. And then at the very tail end, I was like, wait, was that AI? And it was. It wasn't even a real video. It was what appeared to be a lifelike Keanu Reeves moving around in the same way that I'm moving around and actually gesturing and speaking and looking around and umming and pausing and reflecting, and then with however you use the phrase, whatever, his voice was digitally altered and put in there. There was a voice modulator, whatever the hell you call it. It looked and sounded like Keanu Reeves saying something that I actually cared about and I was moved by, and then I find out at the very tail end of the video that it's not even real. Now imagine a little fireside chat from President Trump. He says, ladies and gentlemen, there is a nuclear weapon on its way. Hug your families. Love each other. Like he would say this kind of thing anyway. I'm just saying, insert ex-president here. It's funny because, X isn't like the letter X, but he's also an ex-president, now future president, whatever. Imagine random president saying, this is it. This is the big one. Whatever. Again, not making any unique points here other than just to say artificial intelligence is getting creepy. I don't even like using ChatGPT. I have some people send me hey, what do you think about this? I put some lyrics that I wrote because I'm not a good musician, or I don't think that I'm a good musician. But I wrote these lyrics and then I put them into this song generator and I turned it into this pop punk song, or I turned it into this orchestral song, or this alt rock or whatever. They just send me an artificially generated song using their lyrics, and it sounds pretty good. So as an artist, I see constantly my uniqueness being washed away, or my potential for having a career in the arts. If people have the robots, then who needs real people, right? If I can just type into this generator, show me a movie about X, Y, or Z, and then that's all just randomly generated and made by an algorithm, and then why do you need filmmakers? Why do you need photographers? Why do you need musicians when I can just ask the computer for something I want and then it's going to give it to me? It freaks me out to be honest with you, and I don't like messing with it. I have respect for people who believe or don't believe enough in their ability as an artist to make a thing, and so they either use ChatGPT or one of these other um, things, AI things, to like inspire them or motivate them or get them started or whatever. But like, I don't like to touch it because it's like I'm giving the robot permission to take my job. And I don't want that. Freaks me out. Especially when sometimes those AI songs, they kind of slap. ChatGPT's writing sometimes slaps. It's all it's all stolen art, right? Like, I'm aware that it is based on information it got from other artists and past writers and whatever. It's just pulling information from the internet and compiling it into this tiny little piece of data that data is then transcribed or transformed into quote unquote art. It's based on stolen ideas, right? Whatever. That's AI. Kind of in that same vein. Movies in general this year. I guess maybe this is more of a personal story in that, like, I have watched less media this year, less long form media this year than I have maybe any year. I think I saw one movie in the theaters this year, and unless I'm remembering incorrectly, maybe I did see one other film. I can't remember when Oppenheimer was. If it was this summer, geez, when did Oppenheimer come out? Was that this year or was that last year? Was that this summer? What is time, dude? Like, for real. And then again, I'm trying to freaking Google something, and then Google's like, do you want to use our AI? Like our what do they call it? Whatever the Google AI is. No, I don't. I just want to Google. When did Oppenheimer come out? Okay, that was last summer. All right, whatever. Anyways, this year, the only film I saw in theaters in relation to Oppenheimer was a Christopher Nolan film that came out 10 years ago. I just went and watched the Interstellar re-release in IMAX, which was a lot of fun. That movie not only is one of my favorite movies of all time, if not my favorite movie of all time. I think I will just declare definitively that it is my favorite film of all time. It's massively underrated, first of all. I feel like it doesn't get nearly the praise that it deserves. But that was really the only thing I was interested in seeing this year. Maybe that makes me feel more like an old man than anything, where it's like, you kids, your movies and your television and your music, and I don't want to see it. I like the classics. This isn't even a classic. It was 10 years ago. But I just mean that to say I didn't go to the movies this year. I'm not caught up with culture. I feel like I'm so behind. And maybe that's just a part of getting older. You lose interest in the newfangled toys and the new ways of processing information and consuming media and whatever. It looked like most of the things made this year were remakes or sequels or like Joker 2. I didn't even see Joker 1. But I know that everybody really, really hated Joker 2, and that made me laugh, kind of, in that, like, yeah, of course it did. Of course it did, because everything sucks. All new things suck. That makes me feel older than anything. It's just that declaration that if it's new or if it's coming out this year or if it was made this year, it sucks. Because it's not like the stuff I grew up on, and it's not like the things that I was inspired by, and whatever. It's a crotchety old man take that I happen to somewhat fervently believe in, that, like, there's just nothing new and unique and grabbing like there used to be. That's probably objectively incorrect. Just an old man take. I'm just saying, I put it in the notes, so I had to talk about it. There are so many other things that I feel like I could talk about that I've decided I'll probably not talk about. Because what's the point, right? I feel like every year there will be some reason to look back on the previous year and say, here's what I liked about it, here's what I hated about it. And so does my opinion really matter? Or am I just talking to the void? I'm not talking to the void. I know that you're listening, and I appreciate you, and I care about you, and thank you for caring about me and listening to me. But it's the holidays. And all of this stuff that I'm talking about externally are things that happen around us, not to us. And so should we really care about them? I don't think so. Not to be too, I don't know if it's woo-woo or whatever the hell we're calling it, but the only things that matter are the things that are actually within your control. The only things you can control are the things within your control. So work on those. In 2025, work on you. I'll try to work on me. As we alluded to at the beginning, kind of just hoping that I continue to want to be alive. Not just that I am alive, but right now I'm feeling good, right? And I kind of want to keep this thing going. So I probably just should focus only on that. Because what else is there? All we have is this slow crawl toward death. But it's not that slow, is it? It's pretty quick. I remember what I was doing essentially on this day 10 years ago. It was, I say that to say it's not that long ago that I was in high school or, having my first unique creative ideas or whatever. And now I feel like I am closer. Of course I am closer to death than I've ever been. That's just how time works. But I mean, we're getting old. It's getting old. This whole thing, life, it's getting old. And I'm not saying that I'm bored with it. Again, I think for the first time in quite some time, I want to be alive so I can do the things that I want to do and try the things that I've wanted to try and create the things that I believe I can create. Because we're running out of time. And I'm feeling myself getting older faster. And I feel like so much life is just passing me by because I'm focused on presidential elections and cute hippos on the internet and dick memes. And that's not what I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm supposed to put this thing down. I'm supposed to not look at it and just have it in case, right? In case I need to look something up, or I need to call somebody, or I want to take a picture of something. Why do I need to see what the current price of the Hawk Tuah meme coin is? Why do I need to see the reviews on the latest Sonic the Hedgehog film? I don't. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect you. And yet it's all we're consumed by. So my 2025 goals, aside from not just staying alive, but wanting to stay alive. My goal is to want to stay alive. And now I already know that I'm contradicting myself by saying I'm going to, as soon as this podcast ends, go to the Verizon store and probably get a new phone. Just put the phone down. Quit scrolling so much. Quit caring what other people think of me. And just making art. And not being consumed by the shit that has nothing to do with me. I feel like we'd all be better if we put them down. And yeah, again, that's a boomer take. It's nothing unique. It's a commentary on the youth, but it's not really a commentary on the youth. I'm not talking about young kids and their phones today. I'm talking about people my age and their phones today. I feel very privileged that I got to grow up before the internet boom and during the internet boom. So I could see both worlds and have an appreciation for the world before the boom. But I'm caught up in the aftershock of the boom, and I'm being thrown at light speed with the remnants of the boom, and just trying to get back to ground level and look at the boom from afar and Maybe take pictures of the boom and have fun with the boom from time to time, but not be consumed by it, not be controlled by it. 2025 ambitions are create art no matter what, whether people like it. Create art that I care about, and by extension, hope that other people care about it, but not care if they do. Because just like, negative opinions about you on the internet should not be taken personally, in the same way that positive opinions by strangers on the internet should not be taken seriously. None of it's real. None of it matters. We'll all be dust. But as long as I have my fantasy vibe Celsius in my koozie from catandcrew.com that you can get by entering the promo code Monday, MUNDAY, for 10% off your first purchase. As long as I have those things and want to remain alive rather than view being alive as some cruel suffering that we were tasked with enduring, like it's some sick joke, just gonna ride it out, hope that things are okay, do my best to make them okay, control the things within my own control, and then reflect on all of these totally not unique thoughts again in 2026. So let me know in the comments if you would feel so bold as to tell me what your New Year resolutions are, if you have those. Maybe what your previous year reflections are. Go to Cat and Crew, KATANDCREW.com, enter the promo code Monday. That's MUNDAY, 10% off your first purchase. And in the previous episode, I mentioned this app that I have called Upside that maybe I'll shoot a little actual promo that I can just drop in. Main thing is you can go to a gas station. You can see that there's a gas station right up the street from me that is currently $3 a gallon. This particular place will get me 20 cents off, or 20 cents per gallon cash back. So I don't know if you can see that. Marathon, $3, 20 cents per gallon cash back. You claim it, and then that 20 cents per gallon, it goes into a little account there at the top. You can turn that account into a withdrawal, so it could just go into your bank. You can turn them into gift cards. You can whatever. It's money you're already spending. You don't have to pay for the app. But there's also a little pyramid. I say pyramid while trying to avoid the word pyramid scheme. It doesn't feel like a scheme, but sure, you can call it that. If you use my promo code, which I linked in the description, or you use my referral code, each of us get $5 in my bank account. Oh, no, sorry. Each of us get $5 in our bank account, in our account here. We both get $5 towards our account. And then it works where if people use your referral code, you get 1 cent for every gallon they use on the app for life. So all you got to do is spend the money you're already spending. Just claim the rewards, spend the money, and then it gets deposited into your account, and then you can turn that into just cash back. And then you can create a little army of people spending money, and each of you profit together. So if somebody uses your code, you get $5. They get $5, and then by extension, if they send their code to somebody else, whatever. I think it's a great app, unless somebody tells me it's really problematic, in which case I'd be open to hearing that. But so far, I've been getting money off of it, and I enjoy having the app, so I'm going to continue to use it. Check out Peach Rings again. That feels like one of my prouder accomplishments this year was finally releasing that song and the music video. What else? God, that's it, guys. Be good to each other. Be good to yourselves. Something, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'll see you when we get back in 2025, whenever that is. 2025. Insane. We are a quarter of the way into the 21st century. And I was born in the 20th century. time is flying by, dude. Holy cow. All right, I'm going to stop reflecting on death and go enjoy life by contradicting myself and probably getting a new phone. Enjoy your holiday. Be safe on the roads. I love you. You are loved. You are enough. And free Luigi. I'll see you next year.